Good evening. Two fast-moving tornadoes have ripped through Adelaide's northern suburbs, leaving homes without roofs, cars crushed and some residents without power.
They arrived as part of a wild winter storm surge that also caused heavy hailstorms and coastal chaos. The SES responding to 400 calls for help.
From Craigmore in the north to Seaford in the south. It was a system that showed no mercy.
And it was violent, and it didn't last very long.
But a few seconds was long enough. This view from a Mawson Lakes deli just before 6:30 this morning.
I couldn't believe the damage in such a short time frame. If you come and had a look at the damage, you would think it would have happened over maybe a couple of hours.
Across the road, residents were forced to evacuate this apartment building when the roof caved in. A family at Elizabeth also with a rude shock.
I heard big bang, boom, that's it.
Roof tiles blown off, cars crushed as winds exceeded 130 kilometres an hour.
Based on radar evidence that we saw and also the pattern of damage, it's likely that we saw two small and fast-moving tornadoes move across the northern suburbs of Adelaide.
The Bureau says it was all brought on by a strong cold front that also dumped hail in the southern suburbs.
What the hell?
And at Mount Barker in the hills. On the coast, the winds whipped up another foamy mess. This was Christie's Beach. This was Henley Beach, the foam encroaching on Henley Square and forcing one cafe to close. There were no signs of snow, but in Nan, the piles of hail would do. Across the hills and metro area, power was cut to thousands of homes.
There are wires down on the ground. They're very dangerous. We would encourage everyone to please keep 10 metres clear from those downed lines.
As quickly as the SES has been working to clear the trails of destruction, some of this damage will likely take days to repair. Once the mess is cleared, authorities will assess the impact of their upgraded Alert SA app. Amid some reports, it went down under a heavy load.
50,000 people have gone on to Alert SA to be kept up to date.
And the warnings were enough to keep South Australians safe. Despite continued close calls, even into the afternoon, there were no reports of any serious injuries. Kelly Hughes, 9 News.
At least 69 people are feared dead after a boat they were sailing in capsized, according to the Mauritanian Coast Guards. It is reported that the vessel, a dugout canoe carrying around 160 people from the Gambia and Senegal, overturned on Tuesday night. Authorities report 17 people were rescued, with many more still missing. Officials said the boat capsized when passengers spotted land and rushed to one side. The perilous Atlantic route to Spain's Canary Islands is a major migration path, and a Spanish non-governmental organization estimates over 9,000 people died attempting it last year alone.
The ruling paves the way for the presentation of new evidence against two Saudi nationals that the families claim provided material support to the hijackers. Brett Eagleson, whose father was killed that day, said the evidence was never part of the official record.
They staged an advance team and they paved the way, and we've presented that in court, and the judge says, you guys are right. There is a lot of stuff here.
The ruling gives Eagleson some comfort heading into another 9/11 anniversary.
Yesterday was a shot in the arm to the 9/11 community, who has been betrayed and let down for 24 years by our own government and by those that failed to bring the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia to justice.
Marla Diamond, 1010 Wins on 92.3 FM.
Well, tensions are flaring in Indonesia's capital, Jakarta. The situation has intensified following the death of a 21-year-old food delivery driver who was struck by a police vehicle during mass demonstrations against the allowances granted to Indonesian parliamentarians. Soon after the incident, a violent mob marched to the headquarters of the police brigade in central Jakarta, with some even attempting to storm the compound. In a show of protest, enraged and angered agitators set fire to police post in Jakarta while pelting stones on police. The cops used tear gas to contain the situation.
We demand justice for Afan. Those responsible for running him over must be tried fairly and dismissed from their institution.
The victim, 21-year-old Afan Kuriwan, was reportedly completing a food delivery when he was struck by a police vehicle during the Thursday night clashes that escalated into violent demonstrations. According to the Motorcycle Drivers Association, Kurniwan was not involved in the demonstrations, while the 7 crew of the armoured vehicle have been arrested and an investigation is underway. His family and the association are now mourning his death. Reacting to the incident, Indonesian President Prabowo Subianto has now said that his government will hold a thorough probe inquiry into the incident, and while addressing the mounting dissent against his regime, he urged people to keep calm and remain vigilant.
I am shocked and disappointed by the officers' excessive actions. I have ordered that last night's incident be thoroughly and transparently investigated. In this kind of situation, I urge the public to remain calm and to have trust in the government I lead. The government I lead will do its best for the people.
What began as sporadic demonstrations limited to Jakarta have now spread to cities across the country as public anger grows over housing allowances for MPs, reportedly 10 times higher than the capital's minimum wage. At a time when the average Indonesian earns just 3.1 million rupiah, or around $188 a month, several parliamentarians are receiving housing allowances exceeding 100 million rupiah, or $6,150. This stark disparity, with lawmakers earning nearly 30 times the median income, continues to fuel public outrage and anger across the country.
O líder máximo da maior superpotência do mundo, objetivamente, é ativo soviético, ou russo. O líder máximo da maior superpotência do mundo, objetivamente, é ativo soviético, ou russo. Em termos objetivos, a nova liderança norte-americana tem favorecido estrategicamente a Federação Russa. Todos os dias ameaças terríveis com a aplicação de sanções. Alguma sanção americana com o novo presidente contra a Federação Russa? Nenhuma. Ameaçando ainda hoje imensas sanções. Nem imaginam o que vai ser. Mas o que se sabe é que não foi nenhuma. Porque a Europa minimizou o Sr. Trump e o trumpismo e minimizou a hipótese de repente haver uma nova balança de poderes.
Shifting focus, tensions boiling in the Caribbean as U.S. warships close in on Venezuela. President Maduro vowing no way America can invade as he leads military drills under the spotlight, and with nuclear submarines now in play, the standoff is sharper than ever.
The waters of Venezuela churn with warships, the skies thunder with jets, and President Nicolas Maduro is on the front lines wearing fatigues. During live drills declaring the country ready for any strike.
Neither sanctions, nor blockades, nor psychological warfare, nor siege. They have not been able, they have not succeeded, nor ever will. There is no way for them to enter Venezuela.
Across the horizon, American power looms. U.S. naval forces, ordered by Donald Trump, now patrol just off Venezuela's coastline. And in a chilling signal, Washington has deployed the nuclear-powered submarine USS Newport News into Caribbean waters, a vessel armed with Tomahawk cruise missiles, capable of striking deep into the heart of Venezuela. Venezuela has been put on a war footing. Convoys of tanks and armored vehicles are rumbling through the country's coastal states. Soldiers stand ready with shoulder-fired rockets. Radar stations sweep the skies. Venezuela has started a nationwide conscription registration for militia.
I'm here, well, because the homeland is calling us. Our country needs us. We're stepping up as fighters to counter everything that's happening, both internationally and nationally, because it also puts us at risk. And so, we're in this struggle.
According to the guidelines we are given, we are available for whatever is needed, whatever we are called upon to do, whatever we can contribute. That would be the idea.
The saber rattling has sent ripples across the region. In a sign of shifting alliances, Maduro has publicly praised Colombia's President Petro for reinforcing his side of their shared border. A move seen as a subtle bulwark against any potential ground incursion. For now, it's a tense standoff. The Trump administration says the deployment near Venezuela's territorial waters is an anti-drug trafficking operation. The U.S. has made no public threat to invade. Bureau Report, WION, World is One.
The tensions continue to boil in the Caribbean as U.S. warships close in on Venezuela. President Nicolas Maduro has vowed no way that America can invade as he is leading military drills under the spotlight. And with nuclear submarines now in play, the standoff appears to be sharper than ever. Take a look.
The waters of Venezuela churn with warships. The skies thunder with jets, and President Nicolas Maduro is on the front lines wearing fatigues. During live drills declaring the country ready for any strike.
Neither sanctions, nor blockades, nor psychological warfare, nor siege. They have not been able, they have not succeeded, nor ever will. There is no way for them to enter Venezuela.
Across the horizon, American power looms. U.S. naval forces ordered by Donald Trump now patrol just off Venezuela's coastline. And in a chilling signal, Washington has deployed the nuclear-powered submarine USS Newport News into Caribbean waters, a vessel armed with Tomahawk cruise missiles, capable of striking deep into the heart of Venezuela. Venezuela has been put on a war footing. Convoys of tanks and armored vehicles are rumbling through the country's coastal states. Soldiers stand ready with shoulder-fired rockets. Radar stations sweep the skies. Venezuela has started a nationwide conscription registration for militia.
I'm here, well, because the homeland is calling us. Our country needs us. We're stepping up as fighters to counter everything that's happening, both internationally and nationally, because it also puts us at risk. And so, we're in this struggle.
According to the guidelines we are given, we are available for whatever is needed, whatever we are called upon to do, whatever we can contribute. That would be the idea.
The saber rattling has sent ripples across the region. In a sign of shifting alliances, Maduro has publicly praised Colombia's President Petro for reinforcing his side of their shared border. A move seen as a subtle bulwark against any potential ground incursion. For now, it's a tense standoff. The Trump administration says the deployment near Venezuela's territorial waters is an anti-drug trafficking operation. The U.S. has made no public threat to invade. Bureau Report, WION, World is One.
Authorities in Washington state have been fighting the state's largest wildfire nonstop for almost 2 months. It's called the Bear Gulch Fire. It's burned 9,000 acres since early July. Officials say it's only 13% contained. It is so big, they've had to rely on contract firefighters. But a group of those firefighters who were battling the blaze had to take a 3-hour timeout from their work on Wednesday. You see, their camp was raided by Border Patrol officials, and they were lined up and told to show their IDs.
Nice. Got hit, guys. That's all right. Tribal member. Yeah, we got pulled over by ICE. Crazy, dude. We got members from the tribe of Umatilla, Cayuse, and Walla Walla. This is crazy, man. Look at that. Post it up. We have a different crew over here. Talk to the boss. And I guess La Migra.
You heard people on the scene claim that at least some of those firefighters were Native Americans, indigenous volunteers. They got raided. State officials confirm it. Now, those Border Patrol officers ultimately arrested 2 of the firefighters. It's not clear why. According to reporting by the Seattle Times, one of the firefighters said members of the crew were told not to take video of the incident. You risked your life out here to save the community, the firefighter said. This is how they treat us. Another firefighter said they were denied the chance to say goodbye to the detained crew members. I asked him if his family can say goodbye to him because they're family and they're just ripping them away, the firefighter told the Times. And this is what he said. You need to get the blank out of here. I'm going to make you leave. As the Times notes, it's unusual for federal border agents to make arrests during the fighting of an active fire. the largest in the state of Washington, especially in a remote area. In fact, a Biden-era policy bans most immigration enforcement at natural disaster sites, but here we are. Trump and his supporters, Vance says this all the time, they constantly push this line that you either care about Americans or you care about immigrants, not both. But it's racist garbage. We're an interconnected society of human beings who depend on each other to survive and thrive. And there's not some neat line you can cleave between Americans and foreigners. We just have neighbors and communities. Trump world says that's bunk, that there's just two sides. Trump world says that to make America great again, you need armed federal officers roaming streets and businesses and Home Depot parking lots in search of people to disappear. And now raids on camps of firefighters as they literally battle the largest wildfire in the American Northwest. Donald Trump, J.D. Vance, and Stephen Miller and their ilk are going to burn the country to the ground if that's what it takes so they can rule over the ashes.
A Border Patrol agent who faced criminal charges for allegedly fighting officers in Long Beach has died. The Riverside County Sheriff's Department says Isaiah Hodgson was found dead inside a home last Friday. He was also involved in detaining a 20-year-old Walmart employee outside a store. That was back in June. Last month, he was accused of fighting with Long Beach police while drunk and armed outside a restaurant there. No word on how he died, but we're told that investigators do not suspect foul play.
Chicago's preparing for what could be an influx of ICE agents and National Guard troops. But how will Chicago police respond? NBC5's Randy Gyllenhaal is live at City Hall right now with a look at the plan so far. Randy?
Well, Allison, the city has still not been notified of anything, and for now, the Illinois National Guard remains under command of Illinois. But officials are preparing for all scenarios with a surge of immigration enforcement set to begin right after Labor Day. Just off Lake Michigan, the Navy's largest training base is preparing to host ICE and Homeland Security.
We're not going to tell you how many resources we're going to send to the city. We don't want the bad guy to know what we're sending. It'll be a large contingent.
According to the New York Times, Naval Station Great Lakes is planning for 250 federal agents, 140 vehicles, and storage for things like rubber bullets and tear gas.
This is unprecedented territory that we're in.
The military base sits in Congressman Brad Schneider's North Suburban District.
It is mission critical, and anything that is done to distract from that mission is a threat to our national security.
And he says there is no emergency for the National Guard to join in.
No matter what anyone tries to do, our Constitution is going to stand strong.
If troops arrive, it would be a 90-minute commute to downtown, where Chicago police say they will not be involved.
The Chicago Police Department does not, cannot, and will not interfere with the work that federal agents are doing.
They're just looking to invade the city of Chicago. This is a part of his plan to do something really nefarious, which is to interfere with elections in 2026. He wants to have troops on the ground to stop people from voting, to intimidate people from going to the voting booth.
The National Guard is trained for war and natural disasters. It can only be federalized during civil unrest or rebellion, and they cannot work as domestic police.
The Guard is not prepared to do crime prevention. That's not the purpose of the Guard. Crime is an issue, yes, but that's why we have community solutions. We have local law enforcement. We don't want to just call the military in just to make sure the trains run on time.
Well, Chicago City Council was briefed today by the police department on preparations. At least one council member, Ray Lopez in the 15th Ward, said he supports the Guard coming to Chicago, noting that the shooting today that injured those two teens could have been prevented with National Guard troops on the street. Meantime, Chicago Public Schools reminding parents in a letter that they will not allow federal agents inside school buildings without a criminal warrant. Allison?
Thank you.